Are the Chicago Bears going to sign Dalton Risner in NFL free agency before week 1 to help replace Teven Jenkins, who is injured once again? We're going to take a look at Risner, plus some other external and internal replacements, while Jenkins could miss up to 6 weeks. And Bears Now subscribers, I know we've picked up a lot of new subs recently. Take the next step, turn on your notifications. That way you never miss a video here on the channel. All you got to do is click that bell icon. I'm Harrison Graham. Happy Monday here. If you missed the news last night, we broke down a video from home, but we'll kind of re-hit it here and then get into some of the potential replacements for Teven Jenkins. Brad Biggs broke the news at about 10 o'clock last night that Jenkins could miss up to 6 weeks with a leg injury. Now, what's interesting about this situation is he practiced at joint practices last week, Wednesday and Thursday, talked after practice on Thursday and talked about how being durable is important, this and that. Didn't play on Saturday, but that was because Matt Eberflus didn't play starters. So did he wake up Friday and something had been re-aggravated? Remember earlier on in camp, I think it was August 2nd, where he left practice, I think missed a day or two, then came back. Did he nick something up? He was okay, but now he's further hampered that injury. I really want to know if we get an explanation from that. We're not going to hear from Matt Eberflus again until tomorrow on Tuesday. We'll see if the Bears release something today on that front. But we know how they've been with injuries. Hush, hush. Now, Flus said if it's long-term, he'll comment on those. So if this is truly a potential 6-week injury, that should fall into the bucket of long-term injury. It's not season-ending, but you're going to miss week 1. If it's 6 weeks, you're probably going to miss week 2. So hopefully we get more clarification tomorrow, as he did practice both times last week. So clearly there's a little bit of confusion of what happened there. Now, this is certainly a huge bummer, right? Because Teven Jenkins is a guy who's had trouble staying healthy, but when he plays, he's pretty damn good. And we saw that last year at right guard, flipped him to left guard. He was looking good during camp and in the preseason. Now we got to see where the Bears turn on the offensive line. We'll talk about some of these internal options later on in the video, but you also add in the fact that Nate Davis has missed most of camp. Cody Whitehair shifting back to center. So I think coming into camp, the tackles were probably the bigger question. Right now, you could say it's the interior of that offensive line. So we'll see when this full group of 5 plays together, but it does not appear that's going to be in the near future. Now, again, when you look at Teven Jenkins' injuries, when you kind of look at a near-time and long-term view of this, rookie year misses 13 games with the back and neck issue. Last year only missed 4, so, that was certainly a step in the right direction. But now you're thinking, okay, he's at least going to miss a couple with just this injury. Is he going to be injured again later in the year? It's always going to be a concern, especially with the back stuff. I guess that's the one silver lining here. This is a leg injury, so it's not back-related. So I think that is a positive because we're always going to be concerned about the back, and Teven's worked really hard to really try and stabilize that part of his body. But now he's banged up again, which is obviously very, very frustrating. Now, show Teven Jenkins some love. He's battling through it. He's fighting. He's trying to get back out there. Get the 76 going in the chat right now for Teven Jenkins. He, of course, wears number 76. Show the man some love. Now, could the Bears end up signing Dalton Risner? He is, of course, the top free agent guard left on the open market and really one of the top overall free agents at this point in time. Now, you look at how he graded out last year per PFF, which, again, isn't the end-all, be-all, but they're an outlet that grades this stuff. Overall was kind of average, pass block above average, run block below average there, but gave up just 3 sacks in 15 games, only had 1 penalty, so a disciplined player, solid. I think that's the word for him. He's solid. He's not exceptional, but he's better than a backup, and I think he's been waiting for the right opportunity, and maybe this is it for Risner, who did visit with the Vikings just a couple of weeks ago, which is certainly interesting in its own right with that NFC North tie. Now, the reasons he makes sense is, for one, he was a 4-year starter with the Broncos and is still only 28. I, for some reason, thought he was a little older, 30, 31. He's only 28. He's only missed 4 games in 4 seasons, so you like that. He's been durable. He's played primarily left guard, which that's the opening right now with Jenkins exiting. And he probably wouldn't cost that much at this point in time. It's probably going to be a little more than a vet minimum deal, but Maybe it's like a base of $3 million with incentives up to 5 or 6, depending on snaps played or something like that. I'm very open to signing Risner. You still have money if you are the Chicago Bears. And if they got, 15, 16 million left, like give them $3 million base, incentives up to 6. It still gives you 10 to 12 million for the regular season. You can roll some of that over next year. So this is why when you're selective in free agency and you got extra cash, when these things pop up, you can use that money if you want to, if you're Ryan Poles. Now, would you sign Dalton Risner? Type S for yes, you would sign him, or type P for pass, you would not. Very open to it. I know it's not season ending for Teven, but worst case scenario, Risner ends up being a really good backup for you, right? Like, I think the opportunity is there to improve your football team and help out while you've got one of your key offensive linemen injured. Rocket Money. Speaking of money, if you want to save money like Ryan Poles has since he's taken this job, get going with Rocket Money. Download the app right now, rocketmoney.com/Bears now. I actually dropped off my son PJ at daycare today, which that was fun. That was exciting. Yeah, but my bills are going to be going up because of that. I've been paying about $1,200 a month in daycare. So I've got to find a way to cut back on my spending, and Rocket Money is going to help you do that because they're a personal finance app that finds and cancels your unwanted subscriptions, monitors your spending, and helps you lower your bills all in one place. I obviously can't lower PJ's daycare bill, but I can cut back on some streaming services. I can try to negotiate lower bills with my electric company, etc. Rocket Money helps you do all of that. And I think what a lot of people realize, producer Rolly told me earlier today, is like, I totally forgot about this Miami Heat blog that I was subscribed to and paying $10 per month because NBA free agency is over. He covers the Heat for us here at Chat Sports. That's a separate story. But the point is, now he's saving money because of Rocket Money, and you can too. Go to rocketmoney.com/Bears now. You click the subscription you don't want, select cancel. They're going to take care of the rest for you guys. Use our link to download the app today. It's rocketmoney.com/Bears now. You can set budgets. You can monitor your overall spending. Excellent finance app. Go check them out today. Link is in the comments and in the description. Now you look at some other external options, free agent options on the offensive line. If you are Chicago, Jason Peters, who played left tackle here a couple of years ago and played very well, and last year for the Dallas Cowboys played both guard and tackle and held up very well. He recently said wants to play a 20th NFL season. He'd be a good mentor at worst. At best, he could plug in and maybe be serviceable. Andrew Norwell, who was good a few years ago, was not very good last year for Jacksonville. He's an interesting name. He was a Pro Bowler a couple of years ago. Michael Schofield, who was on the Bears last year, you could go get him. He knows the offense. He would be a serviceable plug-and-play guy. Gabe Jackson, Rodger Saffold. Saffold, 35 years old, did come out recently and said he does not intend on retiring, so that's an intriguing name out there as well. Now, coming up, some internal replacements, which, especially in the near term, seems like the most likely scenario for Ryan Poles, Matt Eberflus, and that left guard position. Who could fill in? Who should fill in for Teven Jenkins? We're going to talk about that in a moment. But be sure to subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Never miss an episode. Assuming you don't want to miss one, hit the sub button. But like we said earlier, take that next step. Turn on the notifications by clicking the bell icon, and then it's going to prompt you for a couple of different options. Once you do click the bell, select all. All means you're going to get notified every single time we publish a video. So be sure to do that if you want to take that next step here at Bears Now. Okay, looking back at the offensive line depth chart. So Teven Jenkins banged up. Nate Davis making his way back, so that's good at right guard. But you kind of look at this, and to me, you've got three options. And we'll start with number one here, and that's Ja'Tyre Carter. 7th-round pick last year for Ryan Poles. Bit of a project coming out of a HBCU, and he's really improved year over year. Poles did an interview with Hogan Johns recently. Kudos to those guys. And said that he worked his ass off this summer, was working out with Braxton Jones every day, and he's taken that next step. All reports out of camp have been good. Now, the one, I guess, pushback you could say here is Carter has worked exclusively at right guard in camp. So, if you want to say, well, left guard's not the same as right guard, yeah, I hear you. I don't think it's quite as drastic as going from right to left tackle. But, yeah, it's not the exact same position obviously. But he's played really well at right guard. You look at his PFF grades in 2 preseason games, excellent. 86.2, pass blocking's been solid, run blocking's been awesome, no penalties, only 1 pressure, and he's played almost 100 snaps in 2 games, so he's played a lot, and he's played well. And to me, like, if there's a narrative out there that's like, well, he's only worked at right guard, he can't play left guard. You want to be a valuable player in this league, you got to be able to play both guard spots, right? Like, if he's going to be that swing guard type, then be a swing guard and be able to play left guard. Like, he's the best backup guard you have right now, in my opinion. He's earned that opportunity. So I don't think you should be like, well, he's been at right guard and our left guard got hurt, we can't put him in there. That, to me, that doesn't make any sense. So that's what I would say. Now, that's not to say that Alex Leatherwood hasn't improved as he's been working as the backup left guard, because I do think he has. I think Leatherwood's done some good things now as the number 2 guard on the left side, but did have a couple of false starts the other night. That wasn't great. But if you take the 2 penalties out of it in the 2 preseason games, he's actually held up pretty well, and I think those penalties have brought down his overall grade because obviously, A, it's less snaps, it's the preseason, but B, pass blocking almost 80, even run blocking's above his overall, so you got to think based on PFF scale, those 2 false starts knocked him back, but beyond that, he's played pretty well. Now, I think Carter is better. I think he's a little more athletic and can pull and get downfield. You saw him on those 2 screen game plays to DJ Moore and Khalil Herbert in the opener. Carter's just all the way downfield blocking. You love that. But Leatherwood is improved. But again, I think Carter has earned it over him at this point. And then you got Lucas Patrick, of course, who, based on pedigree and experience, he would be the guy you would probably turn to first. But he can't stay healthy. He just doesn't seem to be available. It's not even doesn't seem. He's not available. Like last year, he played in only 7 games. It felt like 0. He broke his hand in training camp, and so he came back, tried to play guard because he couldn't snap, wasn't doing that very well. Then finally his hand healed, and the first game he started at center, he had a season-ending injury. Like, it's just been a mess. And then you're like, okay, just a tough year for him. Well, now he's hurt again, right? Like, he's missed most of training camp here. It's just like, can you really rely on him? I know the Bears value his leadership, but I'll be honest. Before this Jenkins injury, I was like, Lucas Patrick might get cut. Now, he's probably safe now with Jenkins getting banged up, but I do think, to me, you have to earn it at some point, and quite frankly, he's probably behind both Carter and Leatherwood as a guard option. Now, if it was center, different story, but guard, yeah, I would lean Carter, then Leatherwood, then Patrick. And by the way, Patrick's still banged up for all we know. Like, he didn't practice or play last week, so keep that in mind as well. Okay, what say you? Who should start at left guard while Teven Jenkins is out? You can mention an internal option, an external option. To me, if you're going internal, I'm going to say Ja'Tyre Carter. What say you? Let us know in the comments section. All right, guys, subscribe to the channel. New live schedule. I should have mentioned this earlier. We're going live today, Mondays, Thursdays, game days during the NFL season. Whole lot of fun. So live this afternoon at 3 Central Time, live again Thursday, and then, of course, every game, which means this week it'll be Saturday. My name is Harrison Graham. We'll see you in a few hours.